Star Wars Outlaws, the mess continues.
So Ubisoft recently released a new story trailer for Star Wars Outlaws, which is their
And it was absolutely horrible.
upcoming new open world Star Wars game that garnered a lot of attention when it was first announced.
Woke Assassin's Creed, essentially, by the way, if anyone's really wondering what that is about.
And we've got an official release date now. The game is launching on August 30th, 2024. And you can see right here the likes to dislikes ratio of this trailer is 50-50. It's looking pretty rough. As for the trailer itself, I think it looks kind of neat. I think there's a...
That's because you're a simpleton that is afraid to say bad things about big corporations.
A lot of potential here, though whether that's realized or not obviously depends on how the game launches, whether this will be just another kind of classic Ubisoft game with the same old structure that kind of has Ubisoft falling behind compared to some of the more accomplished open world games these last few years, or if this will genuinely feel like a big step up when it comes to how Ubisoft develops and releases games.
I think it's safe to say that we know the answer to this, sadly.
I hope it's, I wish the best for it. And I don't know. It looks cool to me. I like what I'm seeing so far. But at the same time, I have to see more, and I'm not just jumping in with blind hype. I'm in wait-and-see mode for this one. Now, why is the likes to dislikes ratio so divided? Well, I'm sure some people looked at the trailer and said it's not for me, but others are upset at just the way Ubisoft has been conducting itself. You can see that many of the top comments aren't necessarily against this trailer or this game itself, but against Ubisoft in general. People saying things like never believe Ubisoft until you try the game yourself. People complaining about the fact that Ubisoft once told me to be comfortable not owning my games, which is indeed something an executive said not that long ago when discussing how they want subscriptions to be normalized, and for that to happen, people...
As I have said before, if you buy a game and you don't magically own it, then if you pirate it, that's not stealing because the company doesn't own it also.
Need to feel comfortable not owning their media, which is just an outlandish proposition. But then you look at some of the more anti-consumer aspects of this product that is no fault of the developers. This is just how Ubisoft operates. But unfortunately, it does affect the optics surrounding this game, starting with the fact that Star Wars Outlaws Physical Edition will require an online connection to install, which renders the whole idea of why you'd want to own a physical edition just completely moot. So this is nothing new for Ubisoft. They did the same thing for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. But that means that...
Which was a completely horrible backwater wash game. Holy. But, at least that game had a bunch of mega fans that literally finally got to live their long-lived, lonely life sad goal of being a blue tribal nomadic creature that is really stupid and based off of nothingness. Man, there were a lot of people who actually are super Avatar fans, and that's crazy. Where did they all come from? It's like, there was one movie. I know it was the best-selling movie of all history at that time, but damn, where did all of these mega Blue Boy fans come from? Kind of shocking, honestly.
That if you uninstall the game and you have the physical copy and down the line you want to reinstall it, and if there's online issues or the servers go down or the game is no longer supported, you could potentially lose access to the game despite the fact that you own this physical copy that is not usable without that online connection that downloads a patch that allows you to play the game. So this is already just obviously for game preservation, it's already not a good look. And then you look at the fact that this game is being sold in multiple editions and what they're selling through these editions and at what price point some people are finding to be
beautiful. The standard edition, which might as well be have been named "If you're poor, we hate you," but give us money anyway. Base game pre-order bonus. Then there's the golden edition. Then there's the ultra edition. Then there's the ultimate edition. And I hope they release an ultimate edition. That would be amazing. Thank you, Ubisoft.
quite outlandish. So you got the $70 base game that comes with the base game and the pre-order
Season pass, baby. Season pass. Oh, yeah.
bonus, which is some cosmetics if you're into that. And then if you go up by $40, you get the $110 gold edition that comes with the base game, the pre-order bonus, as well as the 3 days early access, which is one of my most abhorred practices that I see game publishers execute.
Effectively, this is the real release. Because let's be real, this is how life works. People are hyped about the game. They want to play it. They buy the 3-day early access. If no one bought it, it wouldn't exist. People buy it, and people buy it a lot.
Which basically says you get to play the game on time if you spend more money on this game. They advertise it as early access. What this really is playing it on time, whereas anyone who doesn't pay $40 extra will play it late. Will play it 3 days later with the potential of being spoiled on the story. There's no equality here. The people who pay more get first privilege, and this is just, it's always been just a really scummy
well, technically, if you pay more, yeah, you can't. It kind of means that there's no equality, you know? Why would you pay more for nothing? Yeah, that's how literally this is designed. Equality was not in mind, young.
tactic that I never want to endorse, and that's becoming far too normal, especially where Ubisoft is concerned. And then we have the Season Pass, which comes with 2 DLCs that will release after launch. Though, of course, we don't know the scope of the DLC. We don't even know if we're going to like the base game itself or the DLCs to be justified. And we don't know whether the DLCs themselves will be worth the asking price of this edition. And then beyond that, we have the scummy aspect of content that already exists being extracted from the base game so that they can sell it back to you at a premium. The Jabba's Gambit exclusive mission is available at launch through this Season Pass. And then
nice. That's just good.
there's the Kessel Runner character pack featuring additional cosmetics for Kay and Nyx. So it's cosmetics on top of gameplay content, on top of DLCs whose scope and quality we don't know, and therefore it's hard to define whether the
well, considering the scope and quality of this game seems lackluster at best, honestly, even for a Ubisoft game. I mean, we can safely gauge that those DLCs are going to be probably bad.
Price point of $110 for this edition is justified. And notice how, you know, more expensive editions, they're getting more expensive as well. It used to be that deluxe editions or gold editions or whatever, they're like near $90 or $100. Now we're at $110. And then you got the ultimate edition, which comes with everything that the gold edition has, on top of various cosmetics. The Rogue Infiltrator bundle, which is just essentially cosmetics for Kay, Nyx, the speeder, and the Trailblazer spaceship.
I wonder if that's, by the way, pay to win, because you need to unlock the speeder and spaceship, or how does exactly that work? Because, man, they need to sell pay to win here, okay? Otherwise, this does not work on a fundamental level. They need to sell some pay to win here, and it's Ubisoft, so you know they will.
We got this bundle right here, which is also just more cosmetics, and then a digital art book, which comes at an extra premium price of $20 more than the gold edition for a grand total of $130. That is a lot of money for content that does not feel worth that kind of price point. And you know, this is where game executives and publishers and companies lose me, when they say that games are so expensive to make and they haven't gotten more expensive, on top of the fact that the base game, the base price point, has gotten $10 more expensive, from $60 to $70. You've got these editions that lock all this stuff behind a paywall that does not feel justified, behind a pretty premium additional price point for early access and season passes for things that we know nothing about. And this does not favor them when it comes to their argument of games are too expensive to make. We need to charge for monetization elements. And that's another thing. Does this game have an in-game store? I'd be willing to bet.
Yes. 100% yes. Like, who honestly thinks it doesn't? We already know it has. Like, how do you sell skins if you don't have an in-game store, you know?
Money that Star Wars Outlaws does have some microtransactions in the form of cosmetics or items that, like Assassin's Creed did, where if you spend real money on them, it reveals the locations of certain things through icons on the map. Basically, cheat codes and accessibility features that they sell back for a price point. That's kind of what Ubisoft has done with many of their single-player, campaign-driven experiences, and I don't see why they wouldn't do that again with this, because it's Ubisoft we're talking about, and they're...
And the funny part is, it's not like Ubisoft's games are getting progressively better by the year. No, they're actually getting worse. Every Assassin's Creed that comes out in the past, like, how many years, has been a step down from the previous one. Not just gameplay wise, but mechanics wise, graphics wise. It just kind of becomes worse and worse because the quality of Ubisoft just drops and drops. And I think this quality can be proportionally compared to the amount of pink-haired, politics-obsessed, gender-neutral people that increasingly permeate in Ubisoft's halls where they work. I think that's pretty accurate. Ubisoft is beyond woke, by the way, if you did not know. So have fun with that.
They're going to try to justify this as, oh, it's optional, they're time savers, whatever. Yeah, well, once upon a time, those things were available as just cheat codes or as accessibility options for free. And the fact that they might potentially implement that on top of these expensively priced editions, it just generates negative optics for all of Ubisoft releases. And already news outlets are covering how the Star Wars Outlaws $110 and $130 editions prompt a collective sigh from potential players tired of season passes and ill-advised early access periods. We've got people...
Of course we're tired of it. I'm tired of buying a game and then it turns out I need to buy more things for the game, otherwise it's unfinished, unplayable, or whatever other situation it's in. I hate it. Everyone hates it. We just want a game that's not sold for $200. We don't want to buy 500 euros worth of DLCs for a game to play it properly. We're tired of gutted story elements from the game because it needs to be put in a battle pass. We're tired of all of this nonsense and crap. We just want to buy a game and play it and not have to deal with the crap.
Discussing how when you have to look at charts like these, it just makes me think I can't wait to buy the full game for $20 years later. Some people are noting how in certain countries, if you want to get the most expensive edition, like in Canada, you're talking about 176 Canadian dollars, and this is just for essentially a digital...
Hey, that's cheaper than groceries in Canada, so it's not a bad deal.
Art book that is essentially just a PDF. Like, there's nothing physical that comes with it that might justify the higher price point or that, higher expense. And all this also comes embroiled with another controversy that Ubisoft is facing right now in regards to their shutdown of the game The Crew. This is the first game in the series that you may recall was launched as an always online game, even though there was no necessity to do so, or I'm sure there are ways to not make it always online. But the explanation behind why this was made always online, according to the developer, is that essentially they took the World of Warcraft approach of trying to make this feel like an MMO, like the players are always connected. But that also means that if, servers go down, which is what has happened recently, then you cannot access that game. And so people who bought this game, which ranges in the 12 million players who bought The Crew, they're now finding that this game that, yes, maybe they're not playing as often or is old or whatever, but they still bought, is no longer in...
Well, if you buy something and it gets taken away from you for no reason, that feels pretty bad. So I do understand. Why people are pissed. It sucks.
In their library, it has essentially been taken from them. This is essentially just robbery that can be done by companies in this digital era when you purchase digital products. Hell, even if you bought a physical copy, because The Crew is server dependent, its shutdown meant that players who bought the game, believing that they own this physical piece of media, are finding themselves that this is just paperweight now. The disc and the box, it's worth nothing now. And there's been this movement going on right here that was kickstarted by a YouTuber who goes by the name Accursed Farms. You can see right here, this video has garnered quite a significant number of views and likes
Oh, we know this. We know this. You can sign up for a thing for game preservation. I don't think it's gonna make a difference, but hey, if you want, you can try. And honestly, if you try, that's good. I personally currently don't care that much, but maybe that's the wrong attitude, and maybe it's gonna be too late later. But who knows? Anyway, this was Cruiser Citizen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And this,
Guys, next
Young
time.
Young out. Whoa,
Young out.
Young out. Wow, he's so happy when he yongs out. Me too, though. Bye bye.